Tomorrow will be April the 20th. For those of you who love to indulge in marijuana usage, that's y'all day. Bless you. I've never smoked weed in my life. Um, every time I play basketball, every time I run the fast break, you can always smell a strong scent of marijuana. Any court you go to in America, it's always fun. I actually like the smell of marijuana, but I've never actually indulged. Been around it. I've had it offered to me on the basketball court, at the club, or even when I was chilling with girls and stuff like that. But I've never actually indulged. But tomorrow also holds a day in American infamy, and that is, well, it will be the 20th anniversary of the Columbine High School massacre in Littleton, Colorado, a small town outside of Denver, Colorado, and two teenagers, Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris, massacred a bunch of people that day, and the attitudes with regards to how schools and parents and children, all that stuff went out the door, and you just have kids, essentially, from what I see, you have kids in jail. But that really changed the way Americans look at schools and things of this nature. But April 19th also holds a special day in infamy. I thought that because Adolf Hitler, I always thought Adolf Hitler was born on April 19th, that was the reason why you had a whole bunch of mischief making on this day. But actually, I was in error. Hitler was actually born on April 20th.
In 1965, Vietnam seemed like just another foreign war, but it wasn't. It was different in many ways, and so were those who did the fighting. In World War II, the average age of the combat soldier was 26. In Vietnam, he was 19. 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 19.
The heaviest fighting of the past 2 weeks continued today, 25 miles northwest of Saigon.
I wasn't really sure what was going on.
19. In Vietnam, the combat soldier typically served a 12-month tour of duty, but was exposed to hostile fire almost every day.
Salute. How y'all doing? My name is Derek Williams. I've always been fascinated with historical events. Um, Salute and rest in peace to my 10th grade American government teacher, Miss Maynola Files of Greenville, Mississippi. I was especially intrigued with World War II and the stock market crash of 1929. Uh, I ain't gonna even lie to you. Like I said, I'm a contrarian and I'm politically incorrect. I'm just gonna tell you how I feel. The time Miss Files told me that white people was jumping out of buildings because they lost their money during the stock market, I could not stop laughing. I almost got sent to the office and they was finna suspend me because they didn't call it politically correctness back then, but it was just in bad taste to laugh at somebody dying. But they was flying, and I asked this question to Boyce Watkins in one of his Q&As, and he even confirmed that yes, people was jumping out of buildings and killing themselves after they lost their shirt in the stock market. Now myself, I'm heavily involved in the stock market, but if I went to zero today, I'm gonna be sick. I'm just gonna go drink me some gin and we're gonna start back over. But Derek, love him some Derek. He ain't finna kill himself for nobody. Who gonna take care of my daughter? Not me. But I used to love talking about October in October of 1929. They called it Black Tuesday, I believe. But I just love history and historical events. Well, here's one for you here today. April 19th, we have a bunch of little events that went on. Did you know that Rodney King the Los Angeles black man that was beaten to a pulp by the Los Angeles the police department. After the settlement with that city, he was awarded $3.8 million. Well, a fool and his money is soon parted. He tried to start a record label that failed, and he ended up dying. I believe, if memory served, he ended up dying in a pool. So that's the end of the saga of Mr. King, unfortunately. Also, on this date, Charles Manson was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of actress Sharon Tate. I think this was in 1969, so I was 2 years old. But I used to watch Helter Skelter every time it came on CBS, and I learned something new every time I watched it. If memory serves, I think Manson just died in jail, if I'm not mistaken, after many requests for to be freed. He would always get denied. Well, Manson is out of here, and so goes his saga. Did you know that the American Revolution, we all hear the shot heard around the world? Well, that shot started April 19th, 1775 in Concord, Massachusetts. Here, this is a noble lie. The Oklahoma City bombing, 1995. On April 19th, 1995, the Alfred P. Murrah building in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, was bombed. And if I'm not mistaken, 166 people, I want to say somewhere 160 some odd people died that day. Well, as we know now, based on some interviews that I've heard, a woman who was in the parking lot of that building actually saw what she said was who she thought was some type of workers putting inside the cement stanchions what she said, and this is a direct quote, gray sticks of butter. To me, that was a controlled demolition. And that building fell, or actually the front face of the building was torn off. Timothy McVeigh, a so-called white supremacist, or now they use the word white nationalist, was sentenced to death for that bombing, and so goes his saga. But a little tidbit surrounding that case that no one in mainstream media seems to touch, and definitely not black media. A Oklahoma police person, a black man by the name of Terrence Yakey, a decorated policeman, looked into that case, and he was always asking questions. And he, from all accounts, he was a stand-up man, loved family, loved God, loved his city, and loved taking care of his fellow Oklahoma City residents. Terrence Yakey was found in an open field with multiple cuts all over his body, which meant to torture this man before they killed this man. But you may want to look into the life of Terrence Yakey. Yakey is spelled Yeakey. No one talks about him, but you may want to look into him. And again, this is a very good primer on the Oklahoma City bombing, a noble lie. Also, we have one other one. There's a documentary called Waco, Rules of Engagement. I said in a previous video that there's an acronym for Waco, 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 we ain't coming out. Well, as we know, I think there was about a 2.5-2 month standoff, like a 51-day standoff at the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas. And if you remember some of the videos, you can see military tanks actually bulldozing the house in an attempt to get the people to run out. This was after they used excessive sounds, bright lights at night, and anything to try to flush these people out, and they held firm. Well, we know now from heat imagery that some type of accelerant, some believe phosphorus, was actually thrown into that compound. Phosphorus is known to burn people. You may recall the Palestinians a few years back. Phosphorus was used on them via the Israeli government, so I'm told. But these people were burned out of that building, and of course, the Lamb of God, Vernon Howe, more popularly known as David Koresh, was killed that day as well. And again, these events, I used to always think were spearheaded by the fact that Adolf Hitler was born on April 19th. Well, I found out that that's not accurate. He was actually, again, born April the 20th. So, along with the Columbine shooting and it being Marijuana Day tomorrow, is also the birth of one of the greatest mass murderers in history. And like I said in the previous video, he was that close. He was that close from taking over the world. Now, we always talk how bad Hitler is, but this is actually a condemnation of our country as well. Did you know that in 1938, Hitler was awarded Time Magazine's Man of the Year? Did you know that? Everyone on the planet knew that that boy was a psychopath. A lot of his ideas he actually got from us. With regards to his final solution with the Jews. But he actually made Time Magazine cover. He was the Man of the Year. Something to think about. So again, all y'all take care. Save for my detractors. Greenville, Mississippi till I die.